Hey, welcome back to Function to Flourish. Really glad that you come back for part 3 with Kevin as we continue his story on grief and loss. We just learned a lot about his background, a lot about Joseph, a lot about his family, a lot about his wife, where they were, the struggles, the challenges that they had early on. And we're going to learn more as we continue down this path. Kevin, there was a time shortly after Joseph's passed that me and you had a conversation, and I'm paraphrasing what I believe that took place, but basically you had said, the only for the sheer fact of it makes a lot more sense now that I heard from part 2, understanding the background. You kind of anticipated a phone call, but when it came in, man, what a dread. You dreaded it, but you kind of anticipated it. Talk to me a little bit about that phone call. And I'm talking, for the folks that are watching, I'm talking about that phone call that notified you of Joseph's death.
Yeah, so that was, see, that's the goosebumps,
Yeah.
right? Because that takes you right back. So there's a couple things to layer into this to why that phone call. So we're empty nesters, bank robbery at the Y. And we're like, oh, that's hilarious. Everybody robs that bank. And it is kind of a running gag, right? Like, bank robbery's not funny, but if you live at Tahoe and you'd been there for any length of time, that was like the bank of choice because it's closest to California, right? Rob the bank, go over the hill, whatever.
Got it.
So we laugh about it, right? We're like, oh, somebody robbed the bank again. They flash the camera footage. And I literally did that face right there, right? Like, I grabbed Jeanette. I'm like, okay, I'm obviously crazy. Look at this TV. Who does that look like? Right? And it's Joseph. Now, they don't know who it is, right?
Yeah.
They have no idea, right? He was wearing one of the Guy Fieri hats, right? So, like, again, looking back now, ridiculous. So anyway, we look at that and we're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. Now, we still have friends and family in Tahoe. They start calling us, right? They're like, what the heck, dude? And I'm like, we haven't seen him. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? So this is early days of internet. I go online, I get the picture from channel 48, whatever news, and I send it to Reed. And I'm like, hey, dude, who does this look like to you? Right? I framed it up like that. He immediately responded, oh my God, it's Joseph. And I'm like, shit. So then we're like, what do we do, right? Like, because it's the 800 number, right? Like, but that's my kid.
Yeah.
So I'm like, they don't know who it is. He doesn't live in our house. He's over 18. Good luck, right? Joseph had made those life choices and was going down that path. So all of that said, so Joseph had this cycle. He gets arrested. They find him in a lime green ski suit that he bought at skis in Tahoe and caught him at Sierra Tahoe. Hilarious story, but he gets into this treatment center and he starts this cycle. And this is why I want to talk about this.
Yeah.
Because this is kind of how this goes. He gets in front of a judge, bank robbery.
Yeah.
Talks to a judge. We talk to him, family, friends, things like that. Okay, we'll get him into treatment. So he goes to a treatment center, lasts about a month, maybe 2, runs away. We lose track of him. We don't hear from him. While he's in treatment, we get phone calls, and it's good. And we talk to him like, hey, how you doing? How's it going? Being encouraging so that he'll vanish.
Mm-hmm.
Comes back, ends up back in El Dorado County, the whole court thing, back to this in front of the judge. Here's another treatment program. So this is the cycle.
The cycle, yeah.
Finally, the judge has had enough, sends him to prison. Like, we're done. You're going to prison. So he goes to prison 18 months.
Mm.
And I'm like, I don't know who on the face of the earth gets 18 months for a bank robbery, but consider yourself incredibly fortunate, and we wrote and talked, and I got artwork from him and letters. And when I read his letters, it was this thing where you were like, okay, the light's on, like he's getting it, right? Like he's understanding what he's done and what led him here and how that happened.
There was some clarity.
And it was helpful for me because there's that glimmer of hope as a parent, like, okay, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
My kid's on the right track, now Reed is doing his thing and struggling a little bit, but still doing okay. But with Joseph, it was like this whole thing. And then he came home and we got him a room in Tahoe because he had to come back to El Dorado County. It's just a lot of stuff. And we're like, okay, look, dude, you're an adult now. We'll help you. We'll get you set up. And it just started again. It was just like, I'm out of jail. We're just going to keep going. So this is how the life went, right? And then Joseph started being very cyclical in calls. Like it was almost predictable. Routinely around Christmas, routinely around my belly button birthday, would call like, hey, I can't take it anymore. Life's awful. I need help.
Yeah.
And those were the calls that started happening. And as a parent, it's like, because you're not in person, right? This is a phone call and you can hear your kid in pain.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's the things that I know for me was like, I don't know what to do. Like maybe there's a book on this somewhere, like Parenting 101, and this is a chapter somewhere in there. When your kids are like struggling, like this is what you do, and here's your checklist, right? And I would sit there and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I literally like I've got some recovery skills. Like I can talk to you like a newcomer. I can talk to you like somebody who's just coming in the program. I understand a little bit about therapy because by this time I've hit the wall,
of course,
right? And had to go figure out like, I don't know what's going on. Like literally, like I am a mess. Like I can't work.
When you say hit the wall, you had to get some like from therapy? Or,
yeah.
Okay.
Like, so I in my life, I hit the wall. Like I couldn't be a good spouse.
Yeah.
I couldn't be a good employee.
Yeah.
I couldn't just genuinely be a good human being. Like I couldn't do any of the human people stuff.
Yes.
And I didn't know what was going on. I really didn't. And I got with my sponsor and we talked. And he turned me on to some men's work, which is a different conversation. But what that did is it opened the door for me to go dig into some therapy. And I found a therapist and I started working on Kevin.
Yeah.
These things take a toll, and it took a toll on my marriage.
Man.
Jeanette and I don't want to say we didn't love each other, but I'm pretty sure we didn't like each other.
Been there, done that.
And so in that conversation, we went to marriage counseling, and then it stopped. And I was like, I got to keep going.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter, even if, I don't want to jinx anything, but even if Jeanette and I were to not stay together, I still got to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Because I can't do this. So anyway, I had a counselor. We set goals. She helped me understand a lot of things about me that had never been talked about before, which helped put Joseph in perspective.
Yes.
Which was really like, got it. And like the dots started connecting, like, okay, I'm like, I got this now, right? So now when Joseph would call, I would take these tools that the therapist and I had worked on and I would give them to him like, hey, dude, like, have you thought about doing this? Have you talked about doing this? And there were just always these brief windows of like, I'd see the light come on and I'm like, yay. And then it would just slam the other way. And so he got very engaged in self-medicating, and then this path started happening. He started kind of hanging in those circles of people. And then it was like, the phone would ring.
Yeah.
And it would be like, okay, this is that call, because they were always in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
It was always in the middle of the night, and Jeanette and I would just sit there and I would watch Jeanette fall apart because it's her son and she goes to tears. And then I'm like, I don't know what to do here. Right. Like I have no idea. Like how does anybody know how to go through this? Right. Like I have support systems. I have a sponsor. I have a program. I've got Jeanette. I've got people I talk to. So we get through this. So this cycle happens. So Christmas, this last Christmas, Joseph calls the house. Now, up until then, the last few times he has called, in the role I'm in, right? I'm a mandatory reporter, whatever kind of guy.
Gotcha.
He calls and he says, I'm going to kill myself. And I know what he's doing, right? But I'm not taking that chance.
Yeah, of course.
Having unfortunately been in this organization long enough. I've watched some of my airmen
Amen.
go down that road, right? And I'm like, well, you're not any different. He was in Arizona, and I found they have a great county mental health program.
Okay.
That even if you're homeless, they have a van. Like, you don't have to go to them. They will send a van to wherever you are.
Okay.
I didn't know that, but I found that.
Good.
So I told him, and I'm like, hey, I'm on the phone with you. He says, and I put it to this way. Here's the deal. I'm going to help you, but this is how it's going to go. If you want my help, you're going to send me a pin drop of exactly where you are.
Yep.
You're going to stand right in that spot until a van pulls up. You're going to talk to those people. When you're done talking to those people and agreeing to whatever it is they've said you need to do to get help, call me back and I'll do whatever I can from there. And he did all that. And he got into a veteran halfway house in Arizona.
Okay.
They put him up in a room. They got him a counselor. They started him, and he called me, and I'm like, that is so awesome. And he'd had a job down there, and he was like, Dad, everything's great. And I'm like, okay, whatever you did today, do that tomorrow. Repeat it, right? Whatever that was,
Yeah.
do it again tomorrow. And it was like, and then 6 months later, I get a phone call. Dad, everything's terrible. I'm going to kill myself. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, okay. And I would like, hey, look, the only thing I know how to do for you now is send you to somebody who can help. I said, I can't help you anymore.
Yeah.
Like, and that was the hardest thing in the world for me, literally, was to get to that place where it's like, I don't have anything else for you. Like, I have no other skills.
Yeah.
Like, I've been in school. I've got some psychology. I've been in recovery for a long time. I've done all this stuff. I've had all the training we do here in the military.
Yeah.
But I'm done. Like, I'm literally like,
I've reached my capacity.
I have hit, like, the bucket's empty, right? We talk about filling the bucket. My bucket, literally, there's not even a drop. There's dust,
Yeah.
right? Like, I can't pour any more into you. I said, but what I will be your advocate, and you need to go get help. And I would send him the list. Like, here is every single free resource available to you right now. Dad, I'm not going to go because they're going to lock me up and I'm going to kill myself. And I just want you to know so you can find the body. I'm like, okay, and then I'm having to figure out how to translate these calls to Jeanette.
Yeah. Can we take time out? I want you to pause there. Why? Because you have shared so much with us. In part 2, we really got to understand the young Joseph, the young you and Jeanette, the struggles, the challenges, the victories too, as well.
Yeah.
Of getting through some of the struggles of how do we be married?
Yeah.
How do we be husband, wife?
Right.
How do we be mom and dad? And all of the struggles that you had. But you said something just a couple minutes ago that I really need people to hear. That is, in December, you're talking about December of 2022.
Yes, sir.
Just this recent December. I get goosebumps thinking about this. This wasn't, Joseph's story wasn't a year long.
No.
Remember in part 2, we were talking about 10, 12, 13, 14 years old.
Yeah.
December of last year, Joseph was how old?
34.
That's a long period of time.
Yeah.
Wow. So I really want people to hear that we did summarize a lot of stuff, but this is not just a few years. This is a couple decades.
Yeah.
Of struggle, of challenge. And I'm so glad that you're talking to us about the phone call. And when you told me about the phone call, I didn't know a lot of this. I didn't know any of it.